Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Okay, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Viruvakadar Srimad, His Divine Grace Srila Asa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Viruvakadar Srimad, Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Thakur Bhakti Vinoda Ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Srimad Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, translation and commentary, His Divine Grace Srila Asa Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today, verse 27, chapter 7, knowledge of the Absolute. So, this verse is explaining the material situation. Please repeat. Icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti paran-tapa icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti paran-tapa icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti param-tapa icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti param-tapa. Okay. Icchā-dveṣa-samutthena
dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge sarge yānti param-tapa.
icchā-dveṣa-samutthena
icchā-dveṣa-samutthena
dvandva-mohena Bharata
dvandva-mohena Bharata
sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ
sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ
sarge yānti paran-tapa
sarge yānti paran-tapa.
icchā-dveṣa-samutthena
icchā-dveṣa-samutthena
Bharata
dvandva-mohena Bharata
sarva-bhūtāni
sarva-bhūtāni
sammoham
sammohaṁ
sarge yānti paran-tapa
sarge yānti paran-tapa
icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti
paran-tapa. Okay, word for word, please repeat. Icchā, desire, dvesha, and hate. Samutthena, arisen from. Dvandva, of duality. Mohena, by the illusion. Bharata, O skin of Bharat. Sarva, all. Bhūtāni, living entities. Sammoham, into delusion. Sarge, while taking birth. Yānti, go. Paran-tapa, O conqueror of enemies. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities, arisen from desire and hate. Please repeat. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities, arisen from desire and hate. So, purport Srila Prabhupada. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate, can understand that Lord Krishna appears by his internal potencies. But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energies. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc., thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I am the master of this house, I am the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are not so deluded by dualities are completely foolish. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes. Mukham karochi vachalam bhangam laite girim yakripatamaham bande Shri Guru nidatarinam icchā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena Bharata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti paran-tapa. O scion of Bharat, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities, arisen from desire and hate. Yes, scion of Bharata. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you're scion of Bharata. You're from a noble family. You're from a noble Kshatriya family. You are conqueror of the foe. You are a noble man. But at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, you were all confused and you didn't want to do your duty. You were all on the material platform. You were full of desire and hate. Oh, I don't want to fight. I want to leave the battlefield. I want to be a sadhu, sit under a tree. But you are actually the conqueror of foe, Arjuna. You are meant to be victorious in battle. That is the final verse. Wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there will be morality, victory, opulent. Because I am going to tell you how to conquer the foe. So the foe is within all of us, and that is our attachment to the material energy. This is our problem, common problem for every living entity in the material world. Instead of being attached to the Supreme Lord and performing His bhajan, His worship, we are worshipping this material energy. We are born into it, samutthena. We enter the material energy, and then this I like, icchā, this I don't like. This is my friend, this is my enemy. And this is the duality. And this is called phenomenal knowledge. This is relative knowledge. Relative to ourselves, we are judging this material energy. And we're judging this is friend, enemy, yes, no, attractive, not attractive. And we are acting in that way. But Krishna is saying to Arjuna, this is all delusion, Arjuna. All entities are born into delusion, bewildered by these dualities, and these dualities arise from desire and hate, icchā and dveṣa. I want this and I don't want that. And this is the basic axiom by which everyone is acting in the material world. They're trying to increase what they want and decrease what they don't want. They're trying to become happy and avoid misery. That is everything they're doing. But it is all duality. It is all bewilderment, because they are not part of this material energy. So the material energy will always be uncomfortable, because they are spiritual beings. We are mama angsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. We are eternal spiritual beings. We are angsas of the Supreme Lord. That is supposed to be our meditation. We are meant to be devoted to the Supreme Lord, His devotees, His abode, but instead we're devoted to the lower material energy. Sachi, can you tell them to stop banging during the class? So we're overcome in this way. So Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, this is the problem of the material world, that everyone is bewildered in this way and everyone has an opinion. But the Maya Shakti is creating the material energy, but the Maya Shakti has two subtle energies also. That is called prasatmika buddhi, and the other is avaranatmika buddhi. Prasatmika buddhi means that we're born in this material energy, we're thrown into this material energy, and we adopt some opinion. We become a Marxist, we become a socialist, we become a capitalist, we become a businessman, we become this. We identify with the body. I'm the body, aham mameti, and things related to this body of mine. This is my friend, this is my enemy. Later in the Divine and Demoniac Natures chapter, Krishna will explain the demoniac mentality. He said, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my plans. This is my enemy and I have killed him. This is my other enemy and I will kill him. I will, by my schemes, become wonderful. I'm surrounded by aristocratic relatives. I will give a little charity and there I will rejoice. So this is the demoniac mentality. And this is how people are thinking in the material world. They're thinking, I'll increase my material opulence, decrease my negative things, and then I'll rejoice. And then I'll die. That they don't want to think. I will somehow overcome death. I'm waiting for the scientists to alter my DNA so that I don't die. They have some foolish idea. Deluded. So they are spending their whole life ceaselessly working for things that they will lose. They're spending the whole life trying to accumulate material opulences that will be lost. So this is bewilderment. This is foolishness. We've already heard that Krishna earlier has said there's 4 people who don't surrender to him. One is the mudha, foolish. One is naradama, hedonistic, godless person. Maya aprita gyan, the foolish person who misinterprets his understanding of the material world. And the 4th one is the asura. The asura is rebellious by nature against the concept of a Supreme Lord. God? He's irrelevant. I am God. I am Ravana. And I will enjoy Sita. So that is exaggerated in the case of Ravana. Hiranyakashipu. You have killed, Vishnu has killed my brother Hiranyaksha, so I will kill Vishnu. And I will be the Supreme Lord. So this is the materialistic mentality in the nth degree. I will become God. As Prabhupada puts it here, and as Krishna puts it, that not only are we attracted to the material energy and we're trying to push away the bad things, but ultimately this reaction to the material energy is based at its root in our aversion to the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada put it in the Purport, right? Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person in the material world, bewildered by bodily conception, wants to become one with the Supreme Lord. That means he wants to become God. I am God. I'm not the servant. I am God. I am Purusha. I am Ravana. And then, so we know from Vedic Siddhanta that the absolute truth is one, but it can be understood in 2 phases, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha means the source of energy, and Prakriti means the energy. We can understand that in the sense the sunlight is the energy of the sun. The sun is the source of the sunlight. So the absolute truth is Purusha and Prakriti. Krishna and Radha, Ram and Sita, Narayan and Lakshmi. And we see this principle throughout creation, energy and energetic. But we are the energy. We are Jiva Shakti. We are Shakti. We are ultimately Prakriti. But we want to be Purusha when we're in the material world. This is the distortion of the mentality. If you remember at the beginning of the Purport, Prabhupada said, the living entity by constitution is subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord who is pure knowledge. So we are Jiva Shakti, and we are the creation, we are the energy. Krishna has transformed the Chit Shakti into the Jiva Shakti by his icchā-dveṣa, his desire, icchā Shakti. Purely by his desire he has created unlimited spirit souls. And they are meant to interact with him. So this is the nature of the Jiva. He is meant to interact, mama angsa, jiva bhuta sanatana. He's meant to angsa. Just like we have parts in this body, they are meant to harmoniously interact. So the Jiva Shakti is meant to harmoniously interact with Purusha. Just like Radharani, she is Bhakti Devi, she is harmoniously interacting with Krishna. So under her shelter, Bhakti Devi, all the jivas are harmoniously interacting with Krishna, with Purusha. And Krishna is expanding as Purusha, as Baladev, as Vishnu, as Matsya, the incarnations in the material world throughout the creation. It is explained in the Bhagavatam that Krishna's Purusha expansions, which all come through Baladev and Vishnu, they are as unlimited as the waves in the ocean. These are Purusha. And we hear in Bhagavatam that Ishvara Parama Krishna, that the Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, that this Purusha aspect of the Absolute Truth, remember, Purusha and Prakriti, this Purusha aspect is three. It is Bhagavan Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and then there is Paramatma expanded, he is Purusha Tattva, into the material world to supervise everything. And then there is Brahmajyoti, the energy or the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. And then the Supreme Lord expands as Shakti Tattva too. Radharani is Shakti Tattva. And we are Shakti, Jiva Shakti. But the problem is, in the material world, Bahirmukh, we turn away from the Supreme Lord, we become godless and we become fruitive. We want to become the Supreme Purusha ourselves. And this is the perversion of our nature. We are actually Prakriti, but we're trying to be Purusha. We're trying, instead of serving Krishna, Rishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Uchite, instead of serving the Supreme Lord, we're trying to serve ourselves by dominating the material energy. Ishwaropi aham bhogi. I'm controller and enjoyer. And so, therefore, we want to take the position of the Supreme Lord and be the enjoyer of his energy, which is his role. Krishna is the enjoyer of his energies. He has created three basic energies. We see in the Vishnu Shakti Paraveda that there are three basic divisions of his energy. There is the Chit Shakti, the conscious energy, the spiritual energy. There is the Achit Shakti, and there is the Jiva Shakti. And there is variety within those three categories. So the Jiva Shakti, when he's in the spiritual energy, his real constitutional nature, he interacts with the Supreme Lord on the basis of that. As Lord Chaitanya said, Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Dasa Das Anudas. But in the material energy, covered by the dualities that arise from the material energy, from his effort to be the conqueror of the material energy, he tries to become God. And he becomes godless. Oh, I am God. Why are you talking to me about God? Everybody's God. You are God. I am God. And if God is there, where is he? But the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this is knowledge of the absolute truth, param-tapa. he explains that this material energy, Arjuna, this is me. I am the material energy. It is one of my energies. It is one of my Shaktis. This material energy, the spiritual energy is me. You are also my Shakti, Arjuna. But you've adopted the mentality of, instead of being Shakti, you're trying to be Purusha. You're trying to be the supreme controller. And you're doing that because of dvesha. You've rebelled against my supremacy. So now you're in the material world and you're thinking, I'm the supreme Ravana, I'm Hiranyakashipu, I'm the big controller, I'm going to create a new world order, I'm going to control the world, right? This is always the thing. We're going to have a great empire, the Roman Empire, the Tartarian Empire, we're going to expand the British Empire, now the American Empire, but they all collapse. They all collapse. Why? Because time is the controller. And time, Krishna says, kalosmi aham, that I am time, and I am giving the fruit of your activities. You are not acting for me, you are acting for your own self. You're trying to be Purusha, so you become subject to the law of karma. So we see everything expands and then everything collapses under pap. And everyone is bewildered in this way. But Krishna is saying, no, Arjuna, you conquer this idea and you act according to my instructions. You have a duty, Arjuna. You are a Kshatriya and you are meant to serve your brother, Yudhisthira. I wish to put him on the throne. I want him to be the ruler, not Duryodhana. So you should not be Sukuni, you should be Arjuna. You should not be Ravana, you should be Ram. You should not be Duryodhana, you should be Yudhisthira Maharaj. This is your perfection, Arjuna. Therefore, there's that sloka, sarva-bhūtāni muktam tat paratalena nirmalam rishikesha rishikena sevanam bhakti uchite. What is bhakti? It means that you give up all upadhi, you give up all material designation, you give up all delusion, and you perform the bhajan. As Lord Chaitanya said, Naham viprocha narapatir naipi vaishana sudra. What am I then? I'm nothing to do with these material categories. I'm not this body. I'm not a man, woman. I'm not an Indian. I'm not a Bengali. I'm not a Chinese man. I'm not anything to do with this world. Then what am I? Gopi bhata kamalayor das das anadas. That we must perform bhajan having adopted this identity, which is our true identity. Mama angsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. So Krishna now, in the middle 6 chapters, this is bhakti. So the first thing is knowledge of the Absolute. So Krishna is explaining that I am the material energy, I am the spiritual energy, I am the jiva shakti. This is all my spiritual energy. But those that do not accept my position as the Supreme Lord and turn away, they enter the material energy in a mood of enjoyment, and they become bound by the karma, and then they undergo birth, death, old age and disease, life after life in the material world. But just like Arjuna, he's being rescued from his illusion by Arjuna. So Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi by Bhakti Lata Beach. So within the material energy though, there are the sadhus, there are the Mahatmas that know Vasudeva Savamiti. Everything is Vasudeva. And instead of trying to use the material energy to enjoy for your own self, you should use the material energy in the service of Rishikesh. Rishikesha, Rishikena, Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. Instead of using the senses according to how I see and becoming bewildered by attraction and repulsion in the material energy, I live a pure life under the direction of the Vedic scriptures, the Vedic acharyas. I live a pure life and I dedicate myself to the realization of my relationship with the Supreme Lord. Then you become conqueror of the foe. And so in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya has appeared, and how to awaken that seva-bhāv, Rishikena, Rishikesha. Krishna is Rishikesh. He's a controller of the senses. So how to serve that Supreme Lord? How to wake it up? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, Sadhakabanai, Shravanadi Sudachitte, Karide Udai. That is there within the heart. That is the nature of the soul. But Shravanadi Sudachitte Karide Udai. So Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. By hearing and chanting, remembering, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, all these 9 processes of bhakti, they are performed as yagya. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji. It is a yagya, it is my offering. My bhajan is my yagya to the Supreme Lord. And then the Supreme Lord reciprocates with us in that manner. But if we are trying to enjoy the material energy, the Supreme Lord is still reciprocating with us, but through the laws of karma, through delusion, through attraction and repulsion, through birth, death, old age and disease. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna, that this material world is not your home. This is not going to give you satisfaction. Arjuna, at the beginning of the Gita, you were very disturbed. I don't want to fight. I'm scared of the karmic reaction. I don't want to fight. These are my superiors, Bhishma, Dhritarashtra, all these great souls. How can I fight them? No, Arjuna, you have your duty. But you do your duty as an offering to me. So in this world, yes, we have our family, we have our children, we have our position in our society. So how can I do that? Should I go away from it? No, Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, go away from it, sit under a tree, it's all Maya. He said, no, Arjuna, do your duty, but do it as an offering to me. So how to get that mood of offering it to the Supreme Lord? How to become yad karosi, yad adnasi, yukstadoshi, dadashiyat. Whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever charity, do it as an offering to me, Krishna says. But yes, Krishna is saying that, do it as an offering, but I don't feel anything. That is sadhana bhakti. We awaken Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem within the heart by performing steady bhakti and performing all our duties as an offering to the Supreme Lord. And then seva-bhāv awakens. And that is the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, everyone has seva-bhāv to the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord's devotees. In the material world, everyone has seva-bhāv to themselves and the extensions of themselves. We are servant. We are servant. Our constitutional nature is to be servant to the Supreme Lord, but we're doing seva-bhāv to the material energy. We're trying to control and enjoy. And this is all illusion. this bodily platform. I'm thinking, as Prabhupada says here, I'm thinking I'm a man. This is my wife. This is my house. This is what my life is. This is what I am. Huh? Look at my passport. That's me. No. That's your illusory self. Your previous life, you may have been a woman. Your previous life, you may have been a tiger in the jungle. Previous to that, you may have been a deer that was being chased by a tiger. You have had endless births in this material world. But Brahmanda Brahmate, by the grace of the sadhu, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, a soul comes into contact with sadhu. And the sadhu says, no, everything is Krishna. But you are trying to use everything to enjoy, and now you're experiencing attraction and repulsion, but you should be living a disciplined, pure life and doing your duty as an offering to the Supreme Lord. And within that Vaidhi, you should be performing Navavidha Bhakti. You should be performing Sanatandam. You should be performing Shravanam. You should hear from the Bhagavatam, hear from the sadhus. You should kirtan. You should describe the Supreme Lord. You should chant the name of Krishna. You should smaranam. You should meditate upon the form, qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. You should enter into padasevanam. Padasevanam means you should go to the holy places of Krishna. Pada, sevanam, walk, do parikram. Go to Kumbh Mela if you must. Go to Vrindavan, go to Mayapur, go to Prayag, go to Badrinath, go to Jumunotri, Padasevanam. Go there. We are moving living entities. We like to move around. Do it as a pilgrimage. But do it as an offering to me. That is bhajan. I'm doing all these activities as an offering. But how will I get that seva bhav? So within that activity, I will get the seva bhav because it's within my heart. Nitya siddha Krishna prem sadhakabanai shravanadi sudade karide udai. Just like I was sitting in the temple before class, and I was chanting. And so the children, little babies, 3 years old, like that boy, they're dancing. Oh, they hear the music and they know how to dance. It is natural. Why? Because we are angsa. So Krishna is the greatest dancer. So we are dancers by nature. We are angsa. Krishna is a great musician. So everyone loves music. We have Krishna Prem. We have Seva Bhav to the Supreme Lord. It's inherent. It's constitutional to the soul. But we're trying to be Purusha, not Prakriti. We're trying to be the controller and enjoyer, and then we're becoming bewildered by attraction and repulsion in the material energy. And we're trying to be the Supreme Lord. We're disposing of the idea of the Supreme Lord. And we're trying to enjoy Sita. But Ravana, he couldn't enjoy Sita, could he? Ravana couldn't touch Sita. So nowadays they talk about globalism and thisism and thatism. This is not a new thing. This is the old world order. This is not the new world order. The old world order is the demoniac people trying to control the material energy. That is going to go on till the end of time. Everybody is trying to be the controller and enjoyer in the material world, and everyone is failing. Kalosmi aham. Because you try to control and enjoy, and then time says, I'm the controller. And now your time is up. This body is finished, and you must go to another destination. And the ticket for your destination is your activities and your desire, your calm and your karma. That will purchase the ticket of your next life. So the living entity, when he hears this, he should take this information very seriously. Because now, right, we're in a matrix, right? There was recently those movies, right? The Matrix movies. People are plugged in, they're supplying electricity to an illusion. So actually we're in a matrix, yes. We're in a karmic matrix where all our activities, desires, our words are interacting with the material energy, and the fruit will come. So when we understand that we're in a karmic matrix, it behooves us to be careful. Because we know the reaction will bear upon us sooner or later. So how to get out of it? That is by getting sarva-bhāv. Krishna at the end says, sarva-dhamma prajaja mamekam saranam vraja. You surrender to me. That means you surrender to your nature as my constitutional servant. And how to wake it up and get that sarva-bhāv and overcome the dualities, that is by chanting, particularly by hearing Bhagavatam, by reading Gita, pramana, Vedic prescription, by sad-acharyas, by living pure life, and particularly in Kali Yuga by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And chanting in sarva-bhāv. You understand? This is bhajan. When you're all nice devotees, so you're reading Gita and Bhagavatam every day. You should read Gita and Bhagavatam as bhajan, as an offering to Krishna. You don't have to do great, wonderful things. You just have to read the Bhagavatam as an offering to Krishna. When you're chanting, you chant as an offering to Krishna. When you do smaranam and you're remembering, at this time of day, Krishna is waiting for Radharani in the groves of Vrindavan. You do your remembrance as an offering, as sarva-bhāv. That is bhajan. It is done for the pleasure of Krishna. We worship Krishna. So the materialist is worshipping, he's devoted to the material energy and trying to enjoy it, but he's only getting attraction and repulsion. But when we relate to Krishna, we awaken our sarva-bhāv that is inherent. Therefore, at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Queen Kunti says, Gange Vodam Udanvati. Says, oh Krishna, now the battle of Kurukshetra is over, you have saved us from all these terrible things. But now, Krishna, you please cut off my attachment to my family members and let my devotion flow to you, Gange Vodam Udanvati. Like the Ganga, now at Prayag, the Ganga is flowing, it's always flowing to the sea. So let my heart always flow to you. So you might say, why is Queen Kunti, the mother of the Pandavas, saying, cut off my attachment to my family members? They're great devotees, Yudhisthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. What she is meaning is, cut off my material understanding of my relationship to these people. Let me see from the spiritual platform that everyone is angsa of Krishna. Let not my consciousness be captured by family association, by attraction and repulsion. Let me see everything in relationship to you. Let me not become judgmental about this world. Of course, I'll have my opinion, but let me see from your point of view. Let me see from the point of view of the rishis and the great sages. And how do they see? They are seeing without matsarya, without the envy, without attraction and repulsion. Their consciousness is mixed with the Supreme Lord. And they know that the universe is unfolding through time under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. And they know that the Supreme Lord, Paramatma in the material world, is integrating billions and trillions of spirit souls and their desires and karma. And he's integrating it all. And he is unfolding the universe. Because this is the knowledge of the Absolute. Matak parataram nanyad kinchid asti jananjaya. Know, Arjuna, that there is no truth superior to me. Everything is resting upon me. Sutri mani gana iva. Just like pearls are strung upon a thread. Everything is resting upon me. My mystic opulence is unlimited. I am manifesting the material world. I am guiding the living entities to the fulfillment of their desires. I am giving the fruit of their karma. Some are worshipping demigods, some are rebellious, some are mudhas, I am unfolding the universe. So the great rishis and sadhus, the mahatmas, they're without matsarya, without envy. And they see that the divine energy, the material energy, is unfolding through time under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. And they see from that divine way. They see from that divine vision. They see this is all under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. Vasudeva Savamiti. They have that vision. And their consciousness, purified consciousness, is devoted to the Supreme Lord. And so therefore, Mahatmanastamam patha devim prakritim ashrita. Bhajanti ananimanaso gyatva-bhūtānim avyayam. So they see the Supreme Lord in everything. So they are in pure bhav. That is Krishna Prem. And they are realizing Krishna. And they're realizing the divine plan. And they're seeing everything in that way. They're seeing that, yes, these living entities, they're suffering. And why are they suffering? Why is the material energy so uncomfortable for the living entity? Well, it's meant to be that way, so that they give up trying to enjoy. The material energy, we suffer in the material energy. Why? What is the thing that we learn from the material energy and suffering in the material world? We learn that we're not the Supreme Lord. When we're in the material energy, we want to enjoy, but we suffer. Birth, death, old age, and disease. So the material energy teaches us, as Prabhupada says here, don't think you are the Supreme Lord. You are suffering because to teach you that you are not the Supreme. Huh? Right? There's one philosophy called solipsism, where people think, I am the creator of reality by my consciousness. Well, you're not doing a very good job because you're suffering. You're growing old. You're getting toothache. You just recovered from chikungunya. You may get hepatitis one day. No, I am God. I'm creating reality. No, you're suffering. That means you're not the Supreme Lord. So the suffering of the material energy is there so that the living entity gives up this fruitless endeavor to become one with the Supreme and consider himself the Supreme. The living entity learns humility in the material world. But some people, they go to the jail and they say, there's no government. The government is meant to do good to the citizens, but the government has put me in the jail. All I did was rob the bank. No, you're in the jail because you're subordinate to the government. We're suffering because we're subordinate entities. This is what Prabhupada says at the beginning. The constitutional nature of the living entity is to be subordinate. So we have to understand that we're subordinate, dependent part and parcel of Krishna. But through prem, everything is forgotten in the spiritual world. And Golok Vrindavan, nobody is thinking, Krishna is not thinking, I'm superior to all these devotees. He's thinking, no, I'm the servant of the devotees. I better not upset Lalita Shaki, or else she'll say something bad to Radharani. I'd better please my devotees. So that is the interchange of prem. In this material world, we are very concerned about who is here and who is there, who is up and who is down. But in the spiritual world, that is not the concern. Everyone is empowered by prem, interacting in prem. Krishna is Gopi Jana Balabhaya. He's the lover of the gopis and he's the beloved of the gopis. He's the controller of the gopis and he's controlled by the gopis. Prem is the controller in the spiritual world. And this conception of the Supreme Lord as Ishvara Parama in Goloka is absent. You're all devotees, you know this. This is what Lord Chaitanya revealed through the 6 Goswamis, the sublime nature of Goloka. So we should contemplate through the Bhagavatam, through the Acharyas, the nature of the spiritual world. And we should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, to wake up our attraction to that sublime place. And then all our material conceptions and material attachments, they fade away like sand in the wind. And then we go. Wherever our consciousness is fixed, that is our destination. So we are controllers of our consciousness. You want to be Purusha? Okay. Become Purusha of your consciousness. That is a yogi. Somebody in the material world is under the control of the material energy. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. But the yogi, just by thought of Krishna, he makes himself happy. He feels blissful. That is yoga. Just like a mother looks at the child and she, I love my child. Controls her bhav for the child. So the yogi can offer his bhava, his prem, her bhava, her prem, to the Supreme Lord, just by volition. So this is this is the art of bhajan. When we sit down to do Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, we should, by our ability to control, be Purusha of our own consciousness, we should wake up our affectionate feelings for the Supreme Lord. And that is natural. Because, why? What's the starting point of that affectionate feeling? Is that Krishna is our source. Janmadi asyata. We are Angsar of Krishna. We are directly related to Krishna. Krishna has created us. He is our origin. That's wonderful. Thank you, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So on the basis of that, we perform bhajan. And then we go back to Godhead eternally. And we develop swarup, spiritual form. We live eternally on the transcendental platform. So, any question? Yes.
If we are part of Krishna, and we have
Not if, we are.
exactly, but we often hear that we have the same quality, but not in quantity. So if Krishna is an enjoyer, we should also have, it's normal to have the tendency to want to enjoy.
Yes, we enjoy. Susukam kartam avyayam. Yeah, Krishna is unlimited. But it's stated in Baladev Vidyabhushan's Govinda Bhashya. This question is asked. You know, the Vedanta Sutra is question and answer. So at one point, in the Abhideya section of the Vedanta Sutra, the question is asked. Krishna is unlimited. So how can the fragmental, tiny spirit soul ever really relate to him? Huh? This is what you're saying, right? He's so great, he is unlimited, and I'm a tiny spirit soul. So Baladev answers in his commentary to this question. He says that the living entity, upon liberation into the spiritual atmosphere, becomes practically equivalent to the Supreme Lord. He becomes empowered to an extent. And we see small evidences of this, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He wrote incredible books and bhajans and so on. Srila Prabhupada, in 9 years, he traveled the world translating books. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta wrote incredible things. These people are empowered by their bhakti. So on the transcendental platform, though the spirit soul is tiny angsa, upon liberation he becomes empowered. So therefore, in Goloka, people are playing music for Krishna. But Krishna is not thinking, I can play better than that. He's thinking, wow, they have the same ability as me to play music. In the spiritual world, everyone is empowered to the extent by which they, especially in Goloka, they relate to Krishna on equal terms. Do you understand? But there is one potency, Baladev explains. He doesn't give the living entity the ability to create another form of creation. You know, you can't have alternative creations. But within the creation, the living entities in the spiritual world are practically equivalent to Krishna. And so they relate to Krishna on this basis of equality. Do you see the point? We are in this material world and we are thinking, you know, that I'm very powerful and I've got a lot of ability. It's nothing. In the spiritual world, the great acharyas, right? Vedavyas, what did he do? He wrote down the Vedas, right? At the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Vedas, he wrote all the Vedas. There's no literature that even comes close to the Vedas. He wrote down all the Puranas, the Upanishads. Just wrote it all down. So the living entity is Jiva Shakti, is answer of the Supreme, but he becomes empowered to be equivalent to the Supreme Lord. And so, therefore, Uddhava in Dwarka is giving advice to Krishna on how to run the kingdom. Right? So, that's why I say we want to be controllers, but through bhakti, Krishna becomes controlled, becomes servant of his servant. And the servant becomes, there's a competition of service in the spiritual world. But your question wasn't exactly that. What was your question?
It was that we often hear that we shouldn't want to enjoy or control, etc. But at the same time, we hear that we have the same qualities as.
Yeah. Okay, I see your point. No, don't think like that. We shouldn't enjoy. Krishna says, Susukam kartam aviyam. He says, my bhakti, this is 9th chapter, devotional service is joyfully performed. So the devotee accepts bliss as part of his service. Just like if you have a servant, do you want that servant to bring you a glass of water with a miserable look? Or do you want that servant to say, oh, here's a glass of water, Mataji, happily? So the devotees, they accept bliss and happiness because they know that blissful and happy attitude is pleasing to Krishna. You understand? It's part of their seva-bhāv, to be happy. It is not the end point of their service. They're not trying to be blissful and happy, but they accept blissfulness to please Krishna and to please Krishna's devotees. Just like a mother, she looks at the children. She wants the children to be happy. She feels that happy. So Krishna, so we're not impersonalist. In the liberated state, the soul is blissful. It is natural function of the soul. It doesn't have to be assumed. In the period of sadhana, we have to, it's called aroha siddhi. We have to understand perfection, and then we have to try and emulate it, buddhi yogam, through an intellectual or an intelligent understanding of that perfect state. That's called aroha siddhi. Assuming, understanding perfection and trying to follow that path. That's why I say that we try to be happy in Krishna's service. We try to do seva willingly. We don't think, oh, I've got to go to Mangalarti. Now we think, let me go to Mangalarti and chant Hare Krishna, and then Krishna will be pleased. Gurudev will be pleased. You understand? So, don't think that desirelessness is spiritual life. That is impersonalism. You understand? Sasukam kartam aviyam. It is natural to be blissful. And Krishna and the spiritual master, they say, oh, look at my children, they're all developing nicely. So, don't think in the impersonal way. I have to stop my material desire. I have to stop. That is Buddhistic nihilism. That is Mayavad. I have to stop desire. By desire, I'm in the material world. I have to stop desire. You can't. We accept happiness. We dance and chant happily as a service to Krishna, to please Krishna. Right? You see the point? And that is there naturally. Any question? Okay, we'll finish at this point. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Sadhu Sangha Vrindavan Dham Kumbh Mela Ki Jai. Actually, if you want a good bath,